What's up, everybody? I'm Eric, and this is Under the Arch Sports. Today, we are going to recap Mizzou's ugly game against Georgia. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and find us on Facebook and on Instagram. What do you say about this game? You look at the statistics. Georgia had 316 yards rushing. They averaged 7 yards a carry as a team. JT Daniels threw for 299 yards. It felt for about twice that much, but it was still 1 yard shy of 300. Just an ugly game. You know, Georgia came out really strong in the first quarter. Missouri showed some fight, tied the game late in the second quarter, but that touchdown on the offsides, where Georgia just took the free shot, that touchdown really killed any momentum going into halftime, and Georgia was fired up, and boy, they just left no doubt in that third quarter. Missouri had 22 yards rushing as a team. No receiver made it to 50 yards receiving rather. So let's break it down. Offensively, it's all about the offensive line. That unit had destroyed Vandy, South Carolina, but no, Georgia's a different animal, and it showed. Connor Bazelak did not have time. Larry Roundtree could not even make it to the line of scrimmage before he was having to dance around looking for some hole that might accidentally pop up, because the one designed to be there was not there. Bazelak, the last few weeks he's had all day to throw, and he did not on Saturday. And that's the big reason that we saw Bazelak look flustered. There are multiple throws that could have been picked, should have been picked, and he didn't have time. He was having to throw on the run, throwing with dudes in his face. Not to mention the fact that he took the inadvertent knee to the head, and yes, it was inadvertent. He took that knee to the head, and I think he was out cold for a second there. So credit him for sticking with it, but he just didn't have a chance. Same thing, Larry Roundtree, as I mentioned. There was no hole for him to go through. And that's basically it for the offense. For the defense, you have to acknowledge Kobe Whiteside was out. Trey Williams has opted out and entered the transfer portal. Nick Bolton is playing hurt, and it really showed on Saturday. Jarvis Ware is out. So there's 4 of your starters. I mean, that didn't help, but there's been guys out there who have experience, and it just didn't matter. Georgia did whatever they want. What do you do if you're a coaching staff when your defense gives up 7 yards a rush and you have a depleted defense? There's just not a whole lot you can do. And that goes before you even mention the fact that Georgia is really, really good, and they played really, really good. George Pickens, their wide receiver, he was all over the place running down the field. 5 catches, 126 yards, 2 touchdowns. Zamir White, 126 yards on just 12 carries. That is 10.5 per pop. I mean, not a whole lot to be done, honestly. Special teams was a bright point. Grant McInnes, punting, did a very nice job. The punt return team got that block that set up the second touchdown at the 1 yard line. But other than that, man, I think we've gotten a look at what the gap is between Missouri, who is the third best team in the East, and Georgia, who is first or second. Florida won that matchup this year, but they're relatively even, right? So we see the gap. the game against Florida was not all that different from this game against Georgia. And that's just demonstrating what recruiting does. Now, credit to Coach Drink. He is recruiting at a level not really seen at Missouri. That's part of why the commitments of Isaac Thompson, Dominic Lovett, and all the other guys are pretty exciting for Missouri, because it's showing, hey, these guys are coming to Mizzou. Maybe the Tigers can close the gap, and in a couple of years, maybe this team will be a top 15 team who can hang with the Floridas and Georgias. And if Coach Drink can recruit at this level consistently, maybe every couple of years there'll be this team like the 2017 or 2013 where the stars align. Maybe you've got some awesome seniors and things go right. You win 10, 11 games, win the division, and then take your chances from there. That's really what Coach Drink is building to, and I think that's what Missouri fans need to focus on. It's year one of this program, and Coach Drink got Mizzou into the top 25. They'll fall out. They probably would have to beat Mississippi State handily and win their bowl game. That's probably the only way they'll be ranked again this season. But I don't think anybody was expecting that. I had Mizzou 2-8. So I think it is definite signs of progress and momentum. I think next year it'll be with non-conference games. We'll keep the momentum going, win 8, maybe 9 games. Keep it going. Show recruits this thing is being built. And just try to get there in a couple of years to be able to compete with Georgia and Florida. Mizzou right now, if you take a look at the standings, I mentioned they're third in the SEC East. They are clearly the third best team and the most established program in the division. Carolina fired their coach. Vandy fired their coach. Kentucky is just an absolute mess. And Tennessee, who knows what's going on with Jeremy Pruitt? Who knows if he survives? So Mizzou's relatively strong there. And then you look at records throughout the entire conference. Alabama, Texas A&M, Florida, and Georgia. Those 4 teams are the only teams that will have better records than Missouri at the end of this season if Mizzou can beat Mississippi State and make it to 6-4. They would have the same 6-4 record as Auburn. And then those other 4 teams would be the only ones. That is unbelievable to consider for year one of the Elijah Drinkwitz era. So, Mizzou fans, don't be too discouraged. Give it time. Be patient. Just look for the signs of progress because they are all over the place. I know that we're looking back at this game's a bit of a downer, but make sure you tune in later this week. We will have a recap of Mizzou basketball, who is still undefeated after their huge win in bragging rights against Illinois. And Dave and I will be back to preview Mizzou's regular season finale in Starkville against Mississippi State. So hopefully you guys can check out those videos. We'll see you next time.